People are just not joining like they used to. From the DAR to the VFW, from the Civitans to the Ruritans, from the Elks to the Lions to the Moose. People just aren't joining civic organizations like they used to. Likewise, nationally, fewer Americans are actually joining churches. Welcome to TV, Tennessee Valley Church. This week we are in Huntsville's beautiful, historic First Methodist Church. And we're talking about the opportunities, the responsibilities, the joys, and, well, sometimes the frustrations of joining and participating in a church. This is the last in our summer series on beliefs that shape us. What does it mean to join a church? What exactly is church membership? Well, we are at what you might call a biblical disadvantage in talking about membership. The Bible never says, here's how one becomes a church member. However, Acts 2:47 says the following about the church in Jerusalem. And the Lord added to their number day by day those who were being saved. The phrase, their number, tells us that there was a number, either formally or informally. There were what we would call church members. And since we don't have specific biblical guidelines, local congregations today view and practice membership differently. Some churches don't have formal membership. In those churches, participants decide if they are members. If you ask someone, are you a member of that church? They might answer, well, yeah, I feel part of things. I guess I am a member. But most churches have more defining, clarifying membership. One is either a member or not a member. And even among those churches, there are multiple approaches to membership. Some churches have we might call a low bar to get in. Someone publicly expresses his or her desire to be a member, and boom, they're in. Other churches have a high bar, a very strict membership policy. Those who want to join go through a rigorous interview process, and there are many more attendees and participants usually than actual members. In many churches, an infant who is baptized in the church is considered a member of the church family. Then that child will have an opportunity at a later time to be confirmed, to, by choice, identify with that church family and become a fully participating member. All are legitimate approaches to church membership. The question is, are you a participating, active member of a local congregation? Now let me be clear. The most important question is, are you a follower of Jesus? That is infinitely more important than whether you're the member of a church or what church you happen to be a member of. And yet, being a participating member of a church, well, that's pretty important. Now, given all that, I have some pleas, some serious suggestions for you. First, join a church. My hunch is that someone is watching this because you're hesitant to affiliate with any particular local church. You might have a good reason for that. If you were hurt by a church some time ago, you have a legitimate hesitancy. Or maybe you didn't grow up going to church and you don't really know what to expect. For any number of reasons, you're hesitant maybe to plant your life in a local church. I understand. And let me say how honored, delighted, thrilled I am that you're watching TV Church, and I mean that. But if you're able, then I invite you to also get involved in a local church. Join a church. Second, serve through your church. For your church, any church is the hands and feet of Jesus in the world. Of course, your Christian service is not limited to the programs of the church. There are lots of great organizations through whom we should volunteer. Why serve primarily through the church? Well, one, because the church offers a holistic ministry. A church, unlike any other organization, offers ministry to the body, mind, and soul. Two, because the church is at the heart of God's mission to the world. Three, because the church is dear to God. Acts 20:28 speaks of the church of God, which He bought with His blood. The church, imperfect as the church is precious in God's sight. If you're physically able, find a place of service through your church. Next, protect your church, for there are plenty of forces that would destroy her fellowship and distract her from her place in God's mission. If you join a church, or if you already are part of a church, protect that church. I'm talking about protecting what we usually refer to as fellowship, the relationship among members of the church family. That fellowship has to be nurtured. It has to be protected. In the New Testament, that part of the Bible written about Jesus and the early church, a lot of attention is given to the potential for division in the church. There's some pretty tough language about those who cause division in a congregation. Church fellowship, like life itself, is fragile. It has to be nurtured. It has to be protected. The evil one, the enemy, the accuser, the father of lies, loves to worm his way into the fellowship of churches and sow discord. If you're part of a church, and if you become part of a church, protect your church from divisive people. So, join a church, protect your church, and support your church. For a local church cannot fulfill its place in God's mission without people like you. I'm talking about supporting your local church through your participation in worship and Bible study, in service, in fellowship events, and yes, through your finances. Your church needs you. In New England, on a mission trip a few summers ago, our group worked at a church in Vermont with an interesting wall in their fellowship hall. On the wall of that small room were several mugs, coffee or hot chocolate mugs. Not plain mugs, unique mugs. Odd shapes, wild colors. We were curious enough to ask about them, and with great delight, one of the ladies of the church explained that each person brought his or her favorite mug to church. Mugs that represented each member's interests and personalities. When they have social gatherings, folks drink out of their mugs, wash them, and hang them back on the wall. The wall is a beautiful mosaic of mugs, unique mugs, mugs that have stories behind them, mugs that represent something important to the mug's owner. That wall has become a symbolic tapestry that represents the family that is that local church. The wall would be incomplete if a mug were missing. Here's my point. That church that you're thinking about joining, they need your mug. I said last week that I'm honored, thrilled that you're part of our TV Church family. I also said that TV Church should never take the place of your involvement in a local church family if you are physically fit. I know some of you watch TV Church because your Sunday schedule doesn't allow you to attend worship on Sundays. And again, I'm glad you do. Maybe there's a way you could plug into a local church during the week, maybe a small group or a service opportunity. Would I love for you to be part of the family at First Baptist Church of Huntsville? Yes, of course. But I know there are lots of good churches around. Find one you can plug into. Join that church, serve that church, protect the fellowship of that church. When I come back, I'm going to get real honest about why we need each other. I'm going to tell you a true story about a North Alabama hero, a man who spent 6 years as a POW in the infamous Hanoi Hilton. And I'm going to talk about what we can learn from his story regarding how we need each other.
When the day is over, those thoughts set in. That's when I start to wonder, where do I fit in? But then you remind me that you're holding me tight. Say the past is behind me, it'll be alright. And you say to me, it'll be alright.
When I'm all alone, fear is all I see. Sitting in the silence with these insecurities. It's then you remind me you're holding me tight, and you love me completely. You're always by my side. And you say to me, it'll be alright. It will be alright. It will be alright. Oh, it will.
I know you're not a god out there hiding on mountains. No, no. You come right where I am, lost my way, but you found me. Like the rain in the dark on my ugliest days. You say that you'll always love me just the same. And then you remind me that you're holding me tight. You said the past is behind me, and it will be alright. Oh, and you say to me,
It will.
it'll be alright. It'll be alright.
It'll be
I know it's gonna be alright. Your word says gonna be alright. It's your promise that it'll be alright.
long as I've got your hand in mine, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
Byron Vance is the senior pastor here at First United Methodist Church in Huntsville. First, Pastor Byron, thank you for letting TB Church come here today.
Well, thank you for being here.
You grew up a Baptist, and TB Church is a ministry of First Baptist Church of Huntsville. Now you are a Methodist minister.
Right.
So first question, how did that happen?
Well, I didn't know that we were going to talk secrets today, but since we are, I guess I can divulge. I grew up in the Baptist church, good, solid, loving community. Went to Baptist seminary, same seminary that Travis went to seminary. When we moved to Alabama, I was looking for ministry positions, and just kind of, as you do, you put out your resumes to different places, and I didn't find really the wheels were not turning in the Baptist world. My sister's campus minister down at the University of South Alabama ran into my mom at a college ministry event in Georgia. And at the time I was waiting tables at Tia's Tex-Mex and surrounding the Galleria in Birmingham. He connected me with another one of his former students who was a youth director at a Methodist church in Birmingham. 2 weeks later, I was a youth director at a United Methodist church. Almost as soon as I set foot in the United Methodist church, it felt like I was home. And so it was the home that I never thought I didn't think that I needed, that I didn't think that I was looking for, that I found.
Well, you mentioned feeling home at the church. Today, Pastor Travis is talking about church membership.
Right.
Why do you think some people are hesitant to join a church?
For some, honestly, it's the most courageous decision that they can make, just to go through the doors of a church, because they've not been in so long, or they've never been, and they're not sure what they're going to find on the other side of the doors. Will they find judgment? Will they find welcome? Will they find grace? Just to get through there is kind of a big deal. I would say we don't start with the expectation of membership. We start with the expectation of finding a place. People are much less hesitant to get connected to a church if they think that they're finding a place, rather than getting connected to a church so that their names can be on a membership roll. And so whereas people might be hesitant to sign their name to the dotted line, they might be very eager to say, sure, I'll help volunteer in children's ministry, or I would love to usher one Sunday a month, or I'd love to. I found this to be a place where I and my family can worship, and where we found a deeper connection with the Lord. If you want to call that membership, great, but I'm calling it connection.
And why do you think it's important for us to have that connection?
Well, it can be difficult to live out our faith in community. The only thing that's harder is living out our faith without community. Mm-hmm. And so why do we become a part of a church? It's not because it's perfect. We become a part of a church because it's in community that we can grow best. We're not built for living out our faith on our own. We do better when we're doing it with one another. And so when we find those folks, Don and Joyce, when we find Hank, when we find those people that we worship with, then we find that our roots are growing down deeper into Christ, and they're spreading out further into one another. And so those connections become stronger.
And we become stronger together.
Absolutely.
And can reach more people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We're really interested in people becoming connected to Jesus. And we do feel like we do that best when we do it in community. Mm-hmm. And so if it's at First Methodist, we'd love to have you. If it's at First Baptist, they'd love to have you as well. And we would celebrate with God in you joining in this great big Christian band.
Thank you, Pastor Byron.
Thank you.
I've been talking about our need to be involved in a local church. Let me get real honest and talk about why we need each other in a church family. I don't care which church you choose to be part of, this will be true of all churches. There is grief among us. There is anxiety among us. There are scars among us. There are fresh wounds among us. There is brokenness among us. There is doubt among us. And we need each other. Galatians 6:2 says, bear each other's burdens. Romans 12:15 says, mourn with those who mourn. 1 Thessalonians 5:14 reads, encourage the disheartened, help the weak. Last week I said, we need each other. I quoted John McCain from his book, Why Courage Matters. It was his description of how the POWs leaned on each other for encouragement to stand strong, and for grace when they had failed. Leaning on each other gave the POWs the courage to be faithful to their mission. Let me close with a story that McCain told in another book, Faith of My Fathers. It's about Mike Christian, a man with Huntsville ties. The story begins, the guards dragged Mike Christian from our room. Mike was born in Huntsville in 1940 and graduated from Butler High School. Mike joined the Navy and became a navigator in a Navy bomber in Vietnam. He was shot down on April 24, 1967, and taken to the infamous Hanoi Hilton, a POW camp where he spent 6 years. He was at the camp when John McCain arrived. While a prisoner, Mike began collecting scraps of cloth, red and white cloth, from care packages and wherever he could find them. With a needle he made from a piece of bamboo, he sewed an American flag onto the inside of his blue prisoner's shirt. Every afternoon, before they ate their soup, the American soldiers would hang Mike's shirt flag on the wall of the cell and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And then the North Vietnamese guards discovered Mike's American flag. That's when they dragged him from the cell. So that the other prisoners could witness it, they dragged Mike from the cell, but not far from it, and beat him horribly, puncturing his eardrum and breaking several ribs. The guards then dragged Mike, bleeding and barely conscious, onto the floor of the cell. The other POWs helped Mike into his bunk. Things quieted down and the POWs lay down to go to sleep. The only light was from a bare, dim light bulb that hung in their cell. John McCain looked over to the corner of the room. And there was Mike Christian. Mike had crawled there quietly after he thought the others were sleeping. His eyes were swollen nearly shut from the beating, but Mike had picked up his needle and thread and more patches of red and white cloth and had begun sewing a new flag. I witnessed many acts of heroism in prison, McCain wrote, but none braver than that. As I watched him, McCain said, I felt a surge of pride at serving with him. Now, I don't mean to compare church membership to a POW camp, but there are times when life beats us up, are there not? And we need someone to help us back to our place. We need someone to help us back to a place where we can sew a new flag, as it were, to begin putting the pieces of our lives back together, to find hope and purpose again. John McCain said that when he looked over at Mike Christian starting to sew a new flag, McCain felt a surge of pride at serving with him. Well, I feel a surge of pride that I get to serve with you, whoever you are and wherever you are on your faith journey, that I get to walk with you along this journey, even if it's through a screen, is a real honor. Thank you for being part of TV Church. And make sure you're involved, if you're physically able, in a local church. Let this be a supplement to, not a substitute for, a local church. That church needs you, and you need them.
Every table is an altar. Every breath is a gift from you. Every moment is a treasure. Every day is a kiss from you. And every table is an altar. Every breath is a gift from you. Every moment is a treasure. Every day is a kiss from you. So let our hearts be awake, be awake. Let our hearts be awake, be awake. So let our hearts be awake, be awake. Oh, let our hearts be awake, be awake. Break the bread, pour the wine. Let our hearts come alive in your Every stranger has a story. Every story's being told by you. We're all children on a journey. Jesus, only you can lead us through. So let our hearts be awake, and let our hearts be awake, and break the bread, pour the wine, and let our hearts come alive in your presence, in your presence. And let our fear fall away, let our faith rise today in your presence, in your presence, Jesus. We will shout your name, King of glory. We will stand and sing, you are holy. We will pour out praise, you are worthy of our lives, now and forever. We will shout your name, King of glory. We will stand and sing, you are holy. We will pour out praise, you are worthy of our lives.
Tennessee Valley Church means church has left the building, so has membership. Here's what I mean. You might be feeling a need or maybe even a call from God to be part of our church family in a more tangible way. If you're not able to join us physically here at 600 Governors Drive, whether because of distance, mobility, schedule, or some other reason, you still can be a member of First Baptist Huntsville. Let me send you information on what that would mean, what you could expect from your church, and what your church would expect from you. Email me at travis@fbchsv.org. Let me know of your desire for membership, and I'll help you get started. Join hands with us as we attempt to join hands with God Himself in His mission to the world.